So I suppose we better get the show on the road then, Vedic, hadn't we? Let's have a chat with our community and talk about some of the things we've done in the last sort of 6 weeks since we last spoke. And firstly, apologise that it's been a couple of weeks late. As a lot of you know, Vedic moved all the way from the Netherlands back home to Mexico. I had a little baby, so it's been a bit busy for the pair of us, but we are here now finally, and obviously we'll do this again next month as well, and talk about all the different things to talk about Dragon games. So, Vedic, how are you? How's it going?
Yeah, I'm doing amazing. We're never short on adventures, right, Terra?
Oh,
So
absolutely not. Yeah.
yeah, well, I'm just glad that the whole process of moving from Mexico is like starting to like calm down and the whole process finishing. So, but always super hyped that now I'm working full time on the Drunken Dragon. So that's I mean, before I was working like 16 hours from it, like, trying to juggle like a day job with the Drunken Dragon. And now it's
Yeah.
like feeling that, yeah, I think personally, I'm living the dream. I'll say that.
Oh, excellent. I'm happy that you're happy, and I say there's definitely going to be lots to speak about today because there's some really exciting things that has been kind of going on behind the scenes. Some of which has been tweeted out today. So for those guys that haven't checked Twitter yet, I won't spoil it for you, but we'll be discussing that amongst many other things in today's stream here. So, firstly, you're back in Mexico. How's it all been settling back into the daily life of being there? Has it been going?
I mean, amazing. I think that I come back from Europe with a renewed appreciation for Mexico. It's like, from like the most obvious things like, the amazing weather, the great food, the people, etc., to like, smaller things like, going back to re-encountering with some friends, like connecting back with
Yeah.
also, I miss a lot my family, so it's nice to have them here. Um, we found a nice apartment in a nice area, so I'm really happy in the place that we ended up. It was a huge adventure, the whole process. We had a lot of issues with customs, and we had to send back some stuff, and there was like just so much of it, so much stress, and we found like an empty apartment, but then we're in the process of like actually like getting furniture and making it lively.
Yeah, of
So
course. Yeah.
it's been a lot of work, to be honest, but it's like it's definitely worthwhile. We're very happy on our new place. It has like all nice amenities nearby. So like let's say like my life is quite solved, so that I can completely focus on the Drunken Dragon and making sure that we create an amazing experience for everyone.
Yeah, it's cool. And I spoke to you when we were kind of getting set up. It looks awesome behind you, like the little bookshelves and all the sort of little ornaments you got there and stuff. It's like it looks like you've definitely made your home a home.
Yeah, definitely. The bunny and I, we really like this like English cottage type of feeling, and then I really like this like medieval, of course, this like fantasy medieval theme. So it like melts nicely. So we're making like it's nice that we come back with all of our savings that we had from the Netherlands, and then we finally get to like actually purchase like the furniture that we like. So it's also that has been great. So I got myself like a nice Dungeons and Dragons table. Well, this is gonna be the role playing table to play
Yeah,
with
real
with
thing.
friends. I have my
Nice.
fifth edition books over there, and then yeah, so it's been fun.
Excellent. Well, what we'll do then, we'll jump straight into the deep stuff, if you will. And as the community know, I've been reaching out to them this week for questions, which we've got a few from the community. But these are some questions that I made myself for you, that you are aware of. So there's no surprises for anyone. These are questions that we worked on this week that we're going to ask Vedic to learn a little bit more about the project and what's kind of been happening. So season two has had quite a bit of hype building around it. I mean, I've been doing the daily sneak peeks for maybe a month now, maybe a little bit more, sharing them on Reddit, sharing them on social media and in the Discord. Can you give us some insight into these questions about the Fieldian Adventurers. So, first question: how many will be available to mint?
That's a great question. It's still a work in progress. We're working with some of the most active members in the community to figure out the exact sweet spot for this, right? So as in like a lot of things, there's like two extremes with two different objectives that we want to achieve with this collection, right? So some of the objectives we want to achieve are first to have enough units so that we get to expand our community, right?
Yeah.
So that's why also we don't want the price to be too high, right? So if it's cheaper with more quantity, then it becomes more attractive to a bigger audience to like make the Drunken Dragon a bigger place, a more welcoming place for a lot of new adventurers. But on the other, that's one extreme. But on the other extreme, of course, we have the objective of funding the project. One of my ambitions is to duplicate the amount of teams and the amount of people after this sale. And the second one is also to make it attractive to people which are within the project because of other reasons, right?
Yeah.
So people that want to have something that feels valuable, right? So of course, in this side, then things which are a bit more expensive and things which are more limited, it's more important, right? So we have like these two extremes in which we want to bring people in a nice entry point, and then on the other side, which is like reward people that are looking for something valuable uh, and also like having some enough funds for us to keep expanding the team and the development.
Yeah.
Therefore, we're trying to aim for a nice balance between the two, right? So, for example, there was like a first proposal that was, let's say, rejected, or the feedback was a bit negative, which I had for making the collection 100,000 NFTs, which seemed a bit aggressive. Um, so we're probably gonna bring it down a bit to around maybe 50,000. So in the collection we have 50 different adventurers, all with very unique and amazing splash arts, and they will all come randomized with different stats and different like rarities within like the 10% of them will come with chroma, which will have
Yeah.
an impact in the visuals of the game and also in the card itself. And since there are 50 different ones, we're thinking on going for around 1,000 per adventurer, right?
Yeah.
So this is like the best from the GMAs and the best from pixel tiles, right? And there
Yeah.
will be like some other like specific rarities, like some adventures will be extra rare. We have some a group of heroines that we've been extra developing their story. Do you already know them? It's we created a narration with your beautiful voice, Terror. Uh,
I'll try.
earlier this year. So that's the Death Queen. They're gonna be extra rare, and also we have two members, like two real life members of the Drunken Dragon, which are being immortalized into adventures in the game and in the lore. Which also will be like Drunken Dragon rarity, which will be slightly more rare as well. So, so everything is pointing towards like uh, around 45,000 to 50,000 NFTs at around 20 to 30 ADA per
Okay.
unit price. But we're also still looking for feedback to find like this nice sweet spot
Yeah, like a balance. Yeah.
between, yeah, between welcoming new people, rewarding those who decide to purchase or NFTs, and funding the project to keep expanding on our long-term vision.
Yeah, cool. I mean, yeah, I can say that as being part of the discussions, kind of behind the scenes with the council and stuff. It's all good dialogue, and there's been some good suggestions by some community members, some which are good, some which are bad. But it's all feeding into this one thing that we want to make it best for everyone. We want to try and accommodate collectors, want to accommodate people that want to maybe try and flip, but we also want to accommodate new people that really want to enjoy the game and enjoy the fantasy of the Drunken Dragon. So yeah, it's a fine balance to try and get everyone accommodated, but I think we're doing a good job, especially bringing the community in and asking their opinion on things. So question two was, how much will it cost to mint? And you've said between 10, 20 and 30 at the moment is the plan, but nothing concrete yet.
Mhm.
Have you actually got any plans for the day when the minting date arrives? Is there anything that you've got planned for that day, in regards to like an event or anything else?
Definitely. That's also not just a great question, but an exciting one, right? So when we're still trying to lock dates, and we have an unannounced partner to um, the sell the NFTs through, um, and we're still they need to do some development and they need to prepare. So, and we also need to finish in the collection. I personally want to ensure the highest possible quality in both art and fantasy behind the cards. Um, so then again, this is also a tentative date, but the tentative date will be early July.
Okay.
Uh, so that has been moved back a bit, just to ensure that the whole minting experience is amazing, that marketing is right, that the quality of the collection is right, that everything goes amazing, right? Because
Yeah.
the future of Drunken Dragon games depends on the success of these collections, since we're heavily investing into this, right? So, of course, a new round of funding is important. So we
Of
want to
course.
make
Yeah.
sure that everything is just perfect. And of course, the experience must be amazing, right? Because that's what we're here for. We're here for to create amazing experiences, right? Our mission is to create the most epic fantasy universe for us to have amazing experiences together, right? So one of my main objective is to ensure that through the things that we create, people create meaningful relationships through meaningful experiences and amazing, fun, epic experiences, right? So, continuing answering the question, I do want to prepare some small party in Discord and probably online, and also live. The live one will be probably mostly for the developers,
Yeah.
since I mean this everyone in the team, from the artists, the game developers, Ciro, El Alejandro, Luke, Maite, Killer, Ferraz, everyone is working extremely hard, and I can really see their motivation and their commitment to the project. We use Discord as a like a virtual office. So, like for example, I asked them that if they're in the virtual office, they need to be connected at all time in a voice channel, so
Yeah.
that they can have like this social environment, and also to like communicate when they're available and where they're not, because we have some flexibility. But for some of these guys, I can easily see Might and Luke being at late hours out of their own will to make sure that these NFTs are amazing art, which is one of the things I want us to be proud of as the developer team and as a community, that we're throwing out there into the Cardano and the NFT general community one of the most artistic and in quality wise in the art one of the best collections out there,
Yeah.
right? So so we'll probably have like a part in which we're gonna of course cosplay. We'll probably put on the TV in my apartment the Discord and everything, and we have to still storm some ideas on
Yeah.
how we can also make it connect with the greater community. uh, I don't know if like some kind, maybe like a small stream
Yeah.
or just being there in the Discord, but definitely this is that day is gonna be a great celebration for the Drunken Dragon, and everyone should be invited.
Yeah, I'm super stoked. I'm really looking forward to actually being not just being able to purchase the next Fielding Adventures, but just being part of the whole day, the kind of days before the build up. It's almost like an event, isn't it? It's like people really
Yep.
look forward to a minting day. It's like going out for someone's birthday for drinks. Like you're looking forward to going and meeting all these people and going out. It's the same for like a minting experience. And I mean, I didn't actually mint my first things for a long time after getting into the Drunken Dragon, and I know the whole experience can be really, really special. So yeah, I'm looking forward to brainstorming some ideas with you about how we can make it great for everyone. So I
Yeah.
mean that kind of concludes the questions about the
And
season two.
before
Oh, gone.
that, I think it is. I mean, this is also gonna be, I think, a special day for you because talking about all the commitment and all the efforts of the team. I mean, I would like to extend that to, of course, you've been really committed to the project and inputting a lot. And this is, of course, going to be a special day, not just because we're minting, but because it's also one day in which it reflects also your own work, Terror,
Yeah,
and of the innkeepers as well, right? People like Vimtir, Quantum, the new innkeepers,
yeah,
Horvis Gory, etc.
yeah, yeah.
You all guys have been super committed, and it's all of your time and effort and work and dedication that is also going to reflect in this great day. So this is also going to be a celebration for you guys.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, it's a shout out to those guys as well because they again, being the sort of head innkeeper, I need a real dedicated team below me that are constantly innovating and making new ideas, and those guys have got that in abundance. Like just seeing.
They've been killing it.
Yeah, exactly. Like just all the stuff that I've mentioned in my Drunken Dragon Herald reports every Monday. Like each week, there's something new that the guys have done, whether it be a new style of quiz, whether it be trying to get the quiz to another area and location in the world, so that it's easier for everyone from America, for example, to join in, or even if it's just a shop that Quantum and Vimtier made. It's just all those sort of things. Just what makes the whole project flow and work well. So yeah, I think those guys are probably going to be as excited as me when the final day comes. So yeah, we've discussed mint date, which is early July. No concrete date yet, but yeah, early July sounds good. We'll do some special events when that's live, and again, we can discuss that with the council and between ourselves and try and think of some cool ideas. But moving on now to the next big talking point, and that is the new staking rewards game that was tweeted about earlier and has been spoken about a little bit in the Discord. So you mentioned it a little while ago, put it into the news board as an idea. And this game that allows us to kind of send our adventurers out on idle quests with the intention of rewarding us with Drunken Dragon currency, the Dragon Silver. Can you
Mhm.
explain kind of a little bit in further detail about how you plan to make this game and kind of how it's going to be, how we're going to be able to function with it?
Yeah, definitely. So the format is going to be web-based DApp. So uh, we're gonna go step by step, right? First, we're gonna work with Nami, but eventually we're gonna work out into like syncing with other wallets and also work on maybe a transaction-based syncing of non-connector wallets, like Daedalus, etc. But in the beginning, it's gonna be connect your Nami wallet like you do in other Cardano dApps, right? Like if you go to like one of the NFT stores, you'll do this. Um, and then you'll have a UI where you're gonna be offered this quest, right? So what is a quest? A quest requires a certain amount of members in a party. So you have your adventurers. You have to like, let's say there's a quest for 3 adventurers. So you need to commit 3 adventurers. It's gonna have a certain challenge that will be calculated in the background, right? And it will require you to hold those adventurers for a certain amount of time, ranging between some days to like months, right? Um, and if you still have your adventurers and you held your adventurers through the period of time of one of these quests, you will get the outcome of the quest, right? So it might fail, it might succeed. There's gonna be a queue on, you know, how hard it is gonna be for your current adventurers to succeed on that one. If they succeed, you're gonna be rewarded Dragon Silver. We're gonna connect through an API. We're gonna connect with the vending machine, right? So um, as soon as you get as you succeed with some of these quests, um, you'll be able to claim your Dragon Silver through vending machine. And we're gonna start very simple, right? So you're gonna always have as many quests available for your current adventurers, so you won't need to worry about that, because in the end the idea is to have this notion of staking. And in the beginning, you'll be able to also receive experience to level up the adventurers to get better quests. So what does that mean? You'll get quests which are reward more Dragon Silver, right? Which have a bigger, you have more slots for adventurers, etc. Right? There's gonna be also like more specific, interesting quests, like ones which have like for example, a more pronounced ratio between um, risk and reward, right? Like maybe a lot of reward for like very risky quests, right? Um, also, if everyone starts liking this idea and it becomes a success, we're gonna start adding more features into these mechanics. So this means creating quests which require you some more specific things, like for example, quests only for working kings, GMA working kings, right? Or that have this certain requirements, and say like you need like a single level 50 Crimson Demon to do this quest, for example, right? We can introduce things like, one of the things I was also thinking is like minting the quests. So like you can either choose to do the quest or mint the quest into an NFT that you can share with a friend, right? So for example, maybe you get like a really rare quest that requires like a Viera, but you don't have a Viera. But the quest will be like an interesting quest to do for someone that does, right? So maybe the Viera owner will be looking forward to like get the Viera quest, right?
10 people can be able to do that quest. Only 10.
Yeah, but also the quest will be rare, right?
Yeah, of course.
I
Yeah.
think it'd be interesting to see what we come up with that, and if people like it, of course. What else? Also, this will be the perfect testing ground for us to start developing in idle form certain systems and features that we will want to implement later on in Instant Quests, right? Like, for example, sending your adventurers for gathering materials, right? And
Yeah.
then for crafting, and maybe start like a small economy within the idle quest environment, right? So a lot of things that we're speculating about in that will be really costly to implement in Instant Quest. We will implement in its barest form in idle adventures for people to start trying them out and see if like they find them fun. And after we've found that a certain system is interesting, fun, and it's going great in idle adventures, and we just like prettify it into Instant Quest, right?
Yeah.
So that's the plan. Just start simple, throw some quests for people to send their adventures into through a web UI with a wallet connector, and then based on the feedback that we receive, we'll keep expanding on that, and hopefully this will be like a great way to reward all holders, for us to experiment on new features, and for us to create another fun experience with the universe of the Drunken Dragon.
Absolutely. I'm super excited to kind of see how it all plays out. Just based on what you said, I've got a few questions just going through my head. So, let's say you log into the app and you've got quests available. Will my quests be the same as your quests, the same as Vimtir's quest, the same as Baboon's quest, the same as Agelos's quest, or are they all completely random and all different? So, for example, let's
Uh,
say my quest is quest one of the day. Send a human out to kill an orc. The quest lasts 7 days, and you get 50 dragon silver. If I have that quest in my inbox, is that going to be in everyone's, or is it just going to be in mine?
Just yours.
Just mine.
Of course, there's gonna be some repetition because we need to design we have
Yeah.
design a finite number of quests. But the
Yeah.
idea is to create quests with rarity levels as well, right? So some will be slightly more lucky than others on the quests that they get daily. Um, and and yeah, I mean, depending on the rarity, the rewards will be more interesting, right?
Yeah.
And then again, the requirements will be more interesting as well for the quest. But yeah, all the quests will be randomized.
Yeah. Cool. And will the actual when you see, I mean, I'm going to show it on the stream later, but some people might have seen it in the Discord and on the Twitter. But when you've got the actual quest board and you're looking at it, will there be lore and things written there? So you click on the quest and it pops up and says X person needs to go here to kill this person, etc., to get experience. Like, is there going to be like lore behind it or not?
Yeah, definitely. You're hitting right in the nail. I mean, in the end, our long-term vision and ambition is to create an amazing fantasy universe, right? So we want to put lore into everything that we do. So regarding the quests, as you know, the next collection of adventurers will be within the region of Thealden. And we've been only focusing on developing the lore around Thealden. In Thealden, there's this city-state called Auristar. This city-state is interesting mainly first because it's one of the only two city-states in all Thealden, and that's because Thealden is especially dangerous because of the type of magic that has gathered there. It has like over-evolved the beasts and the creatures, and there's also a lot of undead magic surrounding the area. So civilization there is hard to 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 progress or to even create, right? So the folk of Auristar, they following a prophecy, they founded their city in a mountain, which is really special because the Auri star, which is a star that fell into the peak of the mountain, um, uh, guided them into the mountain, which is a lonely mountain in the middle of Thealden,
Hmm.
and they created a walled city around that's a fallen star, and from the fallen star it started erupting a lot of magical water that right now the city is built to this water sustains the whole city and actually feeds some important rivers in Thealden.
Yeah.
So this city, Auristar, this is where we'll be focusing a lot of our development around. So, for example, in Drunken Dragon Idol Adventures, all of these quests will be offered to you, you being a citizen of Auristar right now. So this is gonna reflect on several of our UI elements that we're working on right now. But the quest will also come with all this lore all the quests will tell a bit more about Auristar, Thjolten, the surroundings, and the different characters, and what's interesting about this city and the dangerous areas around the city. And of course, we have the next furniture that we're going to develop, and the next also like some mid-term plans that we have on creating ownable inns. They're first going to be all themed around Auristar. So we've already been investing a lot into like sketching the city, the architecture, what's interesting about it, all the fantasy, it's all this Vikingish stars themed environment, and the first ownable inns will be in Auristar. So we're gonna map out the city in an interesting way. And right now it's inns and quests is playable, and you have like a static inn for everyone. But in that moment, you'll be able to explore Auristar through the inns that people will have.
Yeah.
And we're gonna keep investing into the lore of this area through all of these products that we're creating, right? So idle adventures, instant quests, the collections, etc.
Yeah, what I'm really looking forward to most is kind of being able just to step inside Orista. Like it's going to remind me of maybe like my first time going to Stormwind. You know that sort of feeling where you see this big town and lots of stuff going on. And I remember playing EverQuest, and there was a place called the Plane of Knowledge, which is basically like the central hub where you can port to everywhere, and it had lots of like mystique about it and stuff. And it's like, yeah, I'm really looking forward into seeing that. So speaking about sort of the different sides of the things coming up. So we've looked at the staking rewards and the potential combat there and sending your adventurers out. But we've seen in the last few YouTube videos in the quest logs some combat multiplayer examples, and I'm pretty sure, as you can imagine, a lot of the people watching are really excited to get their hands on being able to play that game. So how is the development going, and do you have a time frame for the staking idle adventurers game, and B for the combat multiplayer game?
Well, for the tentative date is around the same time that we launch the next Adventurers collection, so the Thjolten Adventurers
Okay.
collection. So that means also July.
Yeah. And that's for the staking. That's for the idle adventures. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
indeed.
Cool.
So we'll for us July is like really important because we're trying to launch all of this all of this together into the same date, so that people can immediately have their adventurers, play them in idle adventures, play them in instant quests, etc. Right? Now for B regarding the combat, same answer.
Okay.
We want people to try out for the first time our combat around July. Regarding the current state of development, we've made a lot of progress. We invested into making a multiplayer experience. I think this was a great decision because in this way we have like a constantly fun way to try out combat, because we in a somewhat cheap way, because we don't have to focus on developing artificial intelligence, right? And it's also like a very social way of testing things out, right? So right now, actually today we played the first games
Yeah.
working on like actual multiplayer of our let's say very primitive combat, right? So because right now the basis, all the most fundamental primitive mechanisms are implemented. So that's things like the type of movement that we've been iterating around. Like there have been some decisions in which we've tried some stuff and come back and forth. There's some skills right now. For example, only knights, rogues, and and clerics are playable in the combat. We've just implemented some, like, let's say, raw skills. There's still gonna be like an iteration in which we implement like progression systems, skill systems, interesting mechanics, a resource system for the skills, etc. So right now it's like, let's say, very simplistic. So hopefully for July, we'll be able to develop enough so that the multiplayer is stable, there's no bugs. Hopefully, we'll have like a first proposals of the of some of the skill systems. Again, it's probably gonna be only knight, rogue, and cleric.
Mhm.
We might basically take everything that is not playable and map them into one of the playable classes. So maybe in the first months, your warlocks will be playable as clerics, so
Yeah.
that people don't get left behind. Uh, but um, but hopefully also in July we'll launch our first combat multiplayer alpha to start trying out the combat and having like some actual feedback from our players on what we're doing.
Yeah, no, interesting. And yeah, just seeing the video footage of it, it's just I've never really played tactic strategy games like this, but because it's inside the universe that I'm so invested in, I'm super hyped to kind of play it. And so
Mhm.
you got to tell the community who was in the game earlier that you played and who won.
So of course, El Alejandro was which one of the developers was there, and also Ferraz, of course. And at first, El Alejandro had a clear advantage because he played it several times before.
Yeah.
Uh, but then, after practicing a bit, I have to say that I came out victorious.
Yeah, that's all that matters. Ledic, the top tier gamer. So you heard it here first. So moving on to question number 5, and again, this is something that is um, that's been spoken about quite a lot amongst the project, and that is an updated white paper. And you spoke to me a little while ago and said, "Yep, we're going to be talking about this a little bit more today." So, in short, when white paper, when roadmap? The floor is yours.
Well, the white paper I want us to publish it before July. So July is like, it's a big release of a lot of things, but I think around June will be, or even before, we'll be releasing our white paper. So the white paper has been in development for a couple of months now. The Council of Elronidas, which is like the most active members of our community, have already read it and given feedback. Also, right now in the stream that we had with Charles Hoskinson, he suggested that we could send them our white paper and they will review it.
Hmm.
Them being IOHK. Um, so right now I'm talking with Secretary of Charles to see if that's still within the table. But
Yeah, yeah.
as you may know, Charles is extremely busy person. So
Mhm.
hoping that that IHK eventually responds into this. But best case scenario, we'll receive feedback from them as well, so that we can have like a final pass on the white paper.
Yeah.
Um, but whatever is the outcome over there, we'll be releasing it. And as some of you might know, with the white paper, we're gonna change a bit how we market our project and how we make others see our project, which is before has been, an NFT collections and the game, etc. But our long-term ambition is to create a fantasy universe where with a decentralized governance, decentralized treasury, where fans have a saying on how the franchise is developed, and independent creators and studios can propose products based on the franchise. So our mission is to create the most epic fantasy universe. This means that we need the creative power of humankind, and this is where blockchain exists. Blockchain exists at creating the way for us to coordinate and collaborate, including incentives and everything. So we want to use blockchain technology to make sure that there is a massive collaboration and the right incentives for people to create and expand the fantasy universe in its best form, in the best possible form, the Drunken Dragon universe. So we'll change in that moment. We're probably going to change the web page and publish it not as Drunken Dragon Games or Drunken Dragon Instant Quest, which is the company and one of the products, but we're gonna publish it as Drunken Dragon Universe, and the white paper is gonna revolve around that idea. And we're gonna publish Drunken Dragon Games as the first organization that is gonna bootstrap the universe, and Drunken Dragon Instant Quest and the collections that we're creating as also the first products that will come from the Drunken Dragon universe. So we're bootstrapping not just a game, not just collections, but we're bootstrapping a fantasy franchise that hopefully will become. That I'm pretty certain that through blockchain technology and the love of our community, it will become the most epic, amazing, and biggest fantasy franchise out there.
Yeah, I mean, we're jumping on it kind of super early as well, right? There's no one that's innovating and doing anything like these plans that we've kind of got going, right? So it's going to be it's going to be a wild ride, but it's going to be super exciting along the way. And I think just hearing the words universe and the sort of scope and the span of how big that could be for the project, and then for all the people that want to collaborate and stuff as well, I think it's super exciting. So what we're saying is white paper will be sort of maybe June, maybe before, maybe a little bit before July. Any idea with the roadmap, or is that going to be coming at the same time?
Yeah, that'll come with at the same time. I mean, we already have a roadmap in a draft state, and that'll come with the white paper because, of course, the roadmap contains elements from Drunken Dragon Instant Quest from the collections, but also comes with important steps in the process of decentralizing the franchise. So it'll come together. Yes.
Awesome, awesome. So if I was to say to you now, let's fast forward 365 days, May the 6th, 2023. Where is the Drunken Dragon? Where are we? What's your vision for the 1 year today? What would you hope to have achieved?
Definitely. So I guess I want to answer that in a different way. So where will the community be? Where Drunken Dragon Games, the company, will be? Where our projects, so our games, will be? And where the Drunken Dragon universe will be, right? So starting with the community, in 1 year, I hope that we do 4 times, 5 times the size of the community, right? I hope that not just in quantity, but in quality, the community has evolved. That means that the active members of the community have found like a place for themselves to call home, which I think is already happening for
Absolutely, yeah.
several of us. This means that everything from the events that we're creating to enjoying the games that we're doing. I hope that that there's thousands of people that understand that the Drunken Dragon is not just a place to collect and to buy and sell, etc., but it's also a place to enjoy what we have in common, which is fantasy, right? So I really want to see the community to start creating some meaningful relationships through meaningful experiences. I think that's already happening once again, but I want to see that 5 times, 10 times bigger in 1 year, right? And I think it's completely achievable given that exactly 1 year ago, I was hoping for our Drunken Dragon pool to have at least one block minted. and now we have more than 100, and we're creating games and talking about great visions of the future. So in 1 year, I think it's easy that we increase tenfold, right?
Yeah.
So that's a community now for the company Drunken Dragon Games. I hope that in 1 year we're at least 3 to 4 times bigger as well. That's in quantity of employees. So right now, Drunken Dragon Games is around, I think last time I checked, 14 or 15 employees without counting like part-timers and volunteers like innkeepers.
Yeah.
So hopefully in 1 year we'll be at least including part-timers and volunteers ranging between the 40 to 50 persons, right?
Yeah.
We will need writers, artists, game designers. There's a lot of work to do, and with the success of our collections will come expansion on that. And of course, I'm also making sure that the experience of being part of Drunken Dragon Games, the company per se, is also amazing and epic, right? So we're also trying to make like a strong connection between the people, making sure that people is well paid, that the daily social experience of developing with us is amazing. It's a social experience and a creative experience, right? In the end, we're a creative company, and for us to create epic experiences, we need to have highly motivated people full of this creative juice, right?
Yeah, definitely.
So that's for the company. Then for our games and products, in 1 year, I hope we see we've sold the Tilden Adventurers, that we've sold the first inns that are usable for the Drunken Dragon Inns and Quest on the Eternal Realms. I hope that the game Inns and Quest have become a really social experience, even when we're lacking a lot of the features. So that the ambition for the Eternal Realms, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, you should go and see the deep dive in our webpage.
Yeah.
But in the Eternal Realms, we're probably going to start investing heavily on making it a place to be, so to chat and hang out, and maybe play some multiplayer combat games, friendly games, and some competitive games. I hope that in 1 year we've also developed the combat good enough so that it's fun to have like some tournaments.
Yeah.
I hope to see like people connecting daily, not just to Discord but to Instant Quest, to chat around people and visit each other's taverns. I hope that we've created several mini collections of furniture for the taverns, so that it's like super interesting to keep doing the activities.
Yeah.
Instant Quest, Idle Adventures. I hope it has like an engaged community with a couple thousand active players. Um, and I hope that by then we have expanded that to have like the Dragon Silver store in the web app, to have new features implemented into it. Like hopefully people will actually like what we're doing, and we can expand on doing things like gathering, crafting, economy, traveling within Idle Adventures. Of course, Idle Adventures is an idle games, right? So it's really cheap to develop, because you don't have to create graphics, right? You
Yeah, of
just do
course.
like some implementations. So it's gonna be all fun, non-graphics, and everything that is great about it. Hopefully, in 1 year, we're gonna start implementing already in Instant Quest based on all the feedback that we gain from these simpler experiences in Idle Quest. Uh, and in 1 year, for the universe, for Drunken Dragon universe, by then, my ambition is that people in general have already understood what is our plan. By then, hopefully, we will have done a Dragon Gold token public sale, similar to World Mobile Token. which will not just fund the development of the components that we need to create a decentralized, autonomous fantasy franchise, but also to kick off what, and you'll understand more when we publish the paper, and I'm starting to spoil a lot of the elements within the paper and preview them. But one of the important things is going to be the decentralized treasury. So, like some of you might know, Cardano has a decentralized treasury which funds projects that makes Cardano better. The public sale of our token will fund the decentralized treasury for making the Drunken Dragon universe better. So in 1 year, I hope that we'll be funding the first projects that will expand on the Drunken Dragon universe. And have already a marketplace where these projects can immediately sell their products on. So in 1 year, I want to see the Drunken Dragon universe economy kicked off and bootstrapped.
Very ambitious, but I reckon it can be done. I think you've got what it takes to get us there. You know, it's like, I mean, just the wealth of information you said there. Like, you can tell that it's going to be an epic ride. I'm really looking forward to going on it. I mean, now I say 1 year. I'm not going to ask you this question now. Maybe we'll leave it for the next one. But where do you see us in 5 years? Well, I won't ask you that one now because that would be that would be a bit of a longer one. But yeah, it's super cool to see the sort of things that happen. And like you say, people will be more aware of it once that white paper is out, and kind of seeing the sort of intricacies of where the project's going to, and all the different facets of it, like the staking model and like the combat and the universe and the Inzen quest. There's so many different areas within one realm, if you know what I mean. So it's going to be super exciting. So speaking about something that's not a year away, but it's maybe 8 or 9 months away, and that's CNFT Con. Are you going? And if so, what's going to be happening there? What's the Drunken Dragon going to be doing there?
Yeah, CNFT Con in 6 months in October. We'll be there. We'll be there. We're gonna have a booth, and in the booth, we're gonna sell merchandise, have our game playable there for people to try it out. And we'll probably, I mean, it's 6 months away, so it's a bit early, but I hope that we prepare some surprises there. So we'll probably prepare a small collection exclusive for people that go and visit us over there. Maybe we'll expand a bit of that collection to members that visit us digitally. We'll probably also take it as a checkpoint to probably release some things that we'll be working on in these 6 months. And in general, our objective is to have a social presence. Hopefully, I mean, I'll be really excited to see who goes there from the community, and probably and hopefully meet them.
It's Las Vegas, right? Is that where it is?
Yeah, it's in Las Vegas.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, I've not been to Las Vegas, but my friend in California loves it there, so I imagine it's going to be a very good time for everyone.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And yeah, and we'll see how it goes. Probably in the months ahead, we'll be announcing if we prepare anything special. But we'll have a booth. We're gonna probably invest in the booth. It will make sure it looks epic and that shows all of the amazing art that our artists are doing. We'll make sure that the game is playable there. We'll probably launch some interesting things there, have some prizes, and hopefully talk with all of our fans that go there, all of our adventurers.
Awesome. Well, that concludes the sort of pre-set questions that we've discussed this week. But what I will say now to anyone who is currently watching the chat, if you do have any questions for Vladik or myself that you want to ask, then please write it in the chat. We've got 3 questions from our community that have been sent to me via DM on Discord. So again, for the next one, which will be probably in June, sort of the first or second week of June, if you've got any questions based on the project from the next month, send me a DM at any time. They are open, and I'll include it in the in the live stream that we're doing here. So yeah, if you've got any questions, please write them in chat now, and I will read them out at the end of the community questions that have been preset. So the first question is from Ramen Cake, and he says, any update on when Pixel Tile GMA assets will be made available for Creative Commons use?
Well, the answer is very simple. That's like 3 months ago. Uh, what does okay? So, but probably if we refine the question a bit, probably the question refers to when is it gonna be like the assets will be made accessible,
Yeah.
which is different, right? So, I mean, the cards right now on the GMAs, etc., they're common Creative Commons already, and the most important thing is that the idea of the Drunken Dragon, the the IP, right? It's Creative Commons, so you're free to do with it as you will. Of course, this is, let's say, within quotes, a brave step that we took, and the first step that we took regarding our great vision of a decentralized autonomous fantasy franchise, right?
Mm-hmm.
So our idea for the Drunken Dragon universe is to make it a highly collaborative environment. So that means that everything that people create for the Drunken Dragon, for us to make it official, which is different, right? It's Creative Commons, but not everything is official. What is official is what the blockchain says is official, and that's
Yeah.
where blockchain technology comes to the rescue, right? It only things approved by the Drunken Dragon governance will be minted and added to the to a list of policy IDs, which will be the official list of policy IDs to say all of these things which were minted here are official canon members of the Drunken Dragon universe. So in this sense, we're having like the best of both worlds, Creative Commons, so that people can go and freely create on top of each other's work, which is the ambition. I want to see like someone propose like create a character art and maybe sell some posters or some NFTs from the character art, and
Yeah.
then someone else comes and say like, oh, that character is really cool. I want to create a story from it, and then he writes down like a light novel of the character, and then someone else comes, like a small studio comes and says like, oh, the novel is so cool. We want to make it a visual novel, or we want to make it like a TV series.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. Yeah.
And they'll be able to do it, and that's why we're making things Creative Commons as part of our greater plan of the Drunken Dragon universe. Now, when are these assets going to be available in like accessible, like in all different forms, like maybe like for example the sources, like the Photoshop files or the Sprite files? That's part of the roadmap of the Drunken Dragon universe. Right now, we don't have immediate plans of making those available because we're focusing on creating the universe, the games, etc. Because we need to find the right way to publish those. But meanwhile, the IP and the concepts and the art that we've published, that is Creative Commons. So if you wish to start creating stories or products around it, you're welcome to do it.
Yeah, crack on, do it as soon as you can. Yeah. This is from Baker440. A quick shout out to him, just generally because he's the guy who holds down the Facebook page, posts out all the different deals he sees across NFT Jam, JPEG Store, and CNFT IO, and just generally holds it down on the Facebook. So yeah, shout out to Baker. He has asked, and I think this question was answered a bit earlier, but I'll just double check. If we have the Nami wallet linked with Yoroi, Eternal, etc., if the staking rewards still go into effect, or if the GMA NFTs have to be in a Nami wallet to do it. So I'm trying to understand the question a bit better. Is if you've got a Nami wallet, that'll work fine. If you've got Yoroi, Eternal, etc., will that work with staking with idle adventurers?
Um, Not in the beginning, because we're gonna um, we're trying to launch this as soon as possible with the minimum necessary quality, and then based on the feedback, we start investing more effort, time, and money into it. So the easiest for us right now is just to basically implement one wallet, and then we'll start adding more wallets, and also for like people that want to keep their NFTs in, let's say for example Daedalus. We'll also like develop a way for you to authenticate your Daedalus wallet, but it will come in steps. So
Okay.
first things first.
First thing's Narmia. Okay, cool. And the last question from Enkian, I didn't actually understand this question, but you might. When Digo pet for Rangers?
Yeah, that's one that actually we talked a bit this week on with the developers. We would love to add like pets, and not just to Rangers, but also like in general to for your tavern, right? Like to have like a cat around the tavern, etc.
Yeah.
They have some beer slimes, right? Like messing around, but so I think there's gonna be two ways we're gonna implement those, which are not in the near horizon.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
In the battle will be through skills, right? Like for example, necromancers being able to like create some minions, and the minions will have their own turn, etc. But that's combat, and then in inns, especially like the Eternal Realms and stuff like that, we'll probably also like implement some notion of pets, etc. But we'll have to wait for the right moment. But it's definitely something we would love to see.
Awesome. And I think the last question of the night, and that is one that's come up in the chat, and that is from Breaccident, who says, and it's quite a good question actually. Do you have any concerns that the general trend of lowered interest in NFTs will impact the sale of season 2?
I mean, definitely there's it's in a sense is concerning, right? Like in any, but as it is for anything in startups, really, or like nascent projects, which chose blockchain technology, NFT technology to start creating our project, and that's the bet and the adventure that we decided to take, right? So given that, we're committed to it. So for us per se, there's no, or at least for me, there is no use on worrying on the state of the market if this is
Yeah.
something we're already committed to. And so we'll definitely just keep pushing. We'll just make sure we have the quality, etc. And hopefully we'll also like through this push in quality and creating a great product and creating a great fantasy universe, we'll also start pulling people which are in here not per se because of NFTs, but which are starting will start being here because of the fantasy universe that we'll be creating.
Maybe it's trying to
So
bridge the gap between those two different things, isn't it?
yeah, definitely. So like expanding a bit on like on the question about where we'll be in 1 year. And I think starting with this collection, I hope to start seeing the first members of the community that are in the Drunken Dragon because they love what they'll do with the game. They love what the universe will become. You know, they'll start that hopefully they'll start loving the characters that we're proposing. One of the things that we haven't really announced either, and maybe this is like a small treat also for those who are connected and are actually hearing this. Um, with the Adventurers collection will also come another important. We're also going to launch the first version of another important component for the Drunken Dragon universe, which is going to be the Drunken Dragon Encyclopedia. The encyclopedia is going to be a wiki site with where we're going to start writing down the actual lore of every character, of every place, of everything that we do. The rules of magic. It'll have the cities. It will come with all the concept art that you haven't seen, which is behind. Because for every adventure that we're creating for the next collection, we're actually investing a lot into like an 18-step process for creating that NFT, which includes creating lore for the background story of the character, the environment, the lore of the society, of the things that are happening around it. So all of that will go into the Drunken Dragon Encyclopedia, so that people can start exploring the Drunken Dragon universe, even if it's not directly implemented into like a quest or something.
Yeah.
And based on that, really our objective is to start marketing as in like come for the fantasy and maybe stay because NFTs are fun, right?
Yeah, of course.
And then and also stay because of the fantasy, right? So hopefully like there are gonna be like there's gonna be some people who say like, oh, cool, this Drunken Dragon project, so cool, and then later on they will start learning about NFTs because of us. So that's the objective, right?
Yeah,
So in yeah.
it's going to say the two can work hand in hand. People who are already into NFTs are going to learn about the project because they've got NFTs, and people that haven't got them are going to learn about NFTs via the product. So they're going to kind of come in together. And I think that the encyclopedia is going to be great because I think it's just going to be like a huge resource of information. And that's what a lot of people like about fantasy. And like, it's not just the world of Warcraft. There's so many facets to it. There's so much story and lore. You don't just walk around a city and do things. There's a reason that certain NPC is walking in that certain place and speaking to that other NPC, and the reason why they're in that place and why they're doing these certain things. And obviously learning why a tavern maiden might be in a certain place in Oristar, or learning about all the different characters that are going to be there is going to be like, it's going to be huge because it's going to be so much content to kind of take in. I think it's going to take weeks to actually try and digest it all as well, especially if there's going to be stories to it as well, right? And quests based around it.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's a nice segue to one of the things that I also wanted to do uh, for this stream was to reward those who stayed here until the end, to show one of our finished art, one of our finished cards, without the card border, just the art of one of our adventurers, and
There
more
you go.
specifically, this is going to be a host.
Put it on the screen now. So you've got two things there. So you've actually got the multiplayer alpha menu, and you've also got the card there as well, which looks fantastic.
Yeah, yeah. So these are two different things. The menu on the background, and on the left side, this is in this collection you'll have adventurers and you also have hosts, right? And crafters. So you'll be able to start collecting uh, your hosts, your cookers, your brewers, your carpenters, your blacksmiths, and your traders. And well, this lady over here, she's a tavern maiden from one of the Auristar inns. So talking about a bit about the fantasy, and talking about the things that you find in the encyclopedia a bit more explained, but are starting to be reflected in the art and in our products. For example, in Auristar, the main the main symbol for Auristar is a inverted star of Auristar, so the Auristar. So you can see it, for example, in the flower pot on the left side. You can see it there. You can see that everything is a bit, star themed. You can see the mountains on the back, right? Some of the ingredients, like that tentacle, which will come from certain creatures around it. Also, the mugs are properly themed towards Auristar, something I hope that we end up creating in real life as well.
Yeah, definitely.
the concept art that Lima created for these mocks are really awesome. So I really want some of these stains for myself.
Yeah, I think that I've shared some of them, haven't I, with the sneak peeks. So
Great.
yeah, it's nice to see them there. And of course, you've got to have a little cat in the background as well, right?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Like talking about pets, right?
Yeah, perfect time to come into it. So yeah, that's a little sneak peek for a finished art card for all you guys that are watching. But if I just quickly remove that tavern lady here, the multiplayer alpha, is this the menu? Is this how it's all going to look?
Yeah, so these are one of the mocks. Well, and it's already implemented actually. Um, the multiplayer alpha. So it's the multiplayer combat alpha, and it's gonna be room based and match based. So yeah, this was like a small preview of the UI for the combat. And see, we're let's say the its most primitive, properly implemented version is gonna finish really soon, and then before publishing it to the rest of the adventurers, uh, we'll we'll first make sure that we implement some no first primitive notion of our skills, etc. To properly show it, and it's still gonna be like extremely early, right? A lot of things will probably end up being changed,
Yeah.
but we're making great progress. And I think you can also see here um, one of our support artists called David. He's been working all of these changes in the UI, and all of these buttons and the background, etc. It's being designed by him, and I think I'm also loving the work that he's doing. I think we're starting to capture this unique essence in the UI of the Drunken Dragon, which I also like a lot.
Absolutely, just like even like the little flower designs in the background and the logo behind all of the different like sort of host and join. I mean, even I sent Luke a kind of a mock overlay. So this overlay that we've got on the screen now, I sent him like an overlay and said, right, here is a blank template of all the different things spaced out. You've got to make it look like it's from the Drunken Dragon, and he's done as you can see, an incredible job of making everything look part of the universe, right? Speaking of more part of the universe and the staking rewards, we've got another couple of sneak pictures as well. So we've got some furniture here. So can you tell us a little bit more about this furniture that we've got on display?
Definitely. So this is like an early preview also of the furniture we're starting to work on, which is all Audistar themed. So, for example, how is this Audistar themed? So, for example, the tables they have the Audistar star in the middle. There's these materials which they're from the proper design of the city. So a lot of stone because they're in a mountain. They also have access to certain materials. So, like for example, they also will come with certain rarities. So you'll see there's some things made with steel and also silver. So of course the most rare furniture will have all these details in silver, etc.
Hmm.
And we're also starting to abstract some of the concepts from the adventurers into the furniture, right? Like for example, if you pay attention, you see that the flower pots they're like the ones that we showed with the Tavern Maiden.
Yeah, yeah,
And these flowers, there are actually some flowers which only grow in Auristar because of the properties of the water that comes out of the Auristar. Uh, there's also and once you see, I think in the sneak peeks, you also saw like one small creature being squeezed to for his like internal juices to be used for as an ingredient,
yeah, yeah.
and that's for a cook that we're creating. And this small creature is also within the food that you can find here.
That's the Dragon Kid,
Uh,
right? The Dragon Chef.
yeah, yeah, the
Yeah,
drunken chef. Yeah.
excellent. And then the last one before we finish up is the quest board. So this is a preview of how the quest board is going to look. As you can see here, we've got the torch, we've got Idle Quest, the quest, and the Drunken Dragon. So it looks like, yeah, you can see our adventurers on the left-hand side there. and Dragon Gold and Dragon Silver displayed in the top left-hand corner, and it looks like, yeah, highlighted in the top left, quest in progress or quest available. And I'm going to presume that where it says quest available highlighted, that means that this person's got a quest that is ready to go and pick up.
Yeah, yeah, indeed. So this then again is also a mock that we created. Most of the elements here will pass. We're gonna refine some other elements, so this is still a bit early. Um, but indeed, you have we want to offer the quests in also in an immersive way. So then again, we're trying to create like a great experience. So we didn't want us to have just like a simple UI. We wanted to use the UI as a also as a way to expand on the universe. And a lot of these things. So as you can see, there's a clear difference between the vector-based UI and the pixel art-based universe,
Yeah.
right? So, so yeah, this is like I think this already paints the picture of how we expect the game to look like.
Yeah, excellent. Awesome. In which case, then, as we have no more questions, let's call in to today's second round the fire chat. Thank you to everyone, of course, who's in the chat and that came past today. This video will, of course, be made as a VOD. I'll go and when I finish it up here with Vladik, and we've had a little debrief, and we go and grab a cup of tea or a mug of mead, whichever one you take your fancy. We'll make sure that it's available, and I'll post it out tomorrow on all the socials and make sure that everyone is available to see it for all of you. And yeah, that's it basically. So, any questions or anything that you want to speak about, Vladik, before we head off?
Well, in myself, well, then again, just a reminder that we're creating something together. I really want to see the feedback from the community. Um, our objective is to create something that is worthwhile creating, that creates amazing experiences for us to have reason to be together. So I really hope that all of these things that we're creating starts making that effect on each one of you, adventurers of the Drunken Dragon. Um, and yeah, and I hope you guys stay here with us, keep supporting us, because we're just getting started.
Absolutely. I mean, it's been 7 or 8 months since I've been in the project, and the amount of stuff that's kind of gone from here to up here, the kind of trajectory of all the things that are going on and the things you see behind the scenes really show that there's a lot of promise and there's a lot of future going on here. So thank you for being on the ride with us. Thank you for joining in and sailing on the same boat as where we're headed to. So without
And
further ado, oh, go on.
as I like to tell the developer team, let's keep creating something epic together.
Let's keep creating something epic together. That's a good way to end it. So have a great night, guys, and we will see you in the Discord. And of course, this next round the fire chat will be probably early next month in June. So take care, and we will see you all later on. Peace.
Cheers.